everybody. Welcome to the first, maybe only,
Hopefully.
We always hope that there are less than... whatever.
We always hope that there won't be too many of these every season.
So this is a postmortem for the fall 2013 season. And it is for the Noi Tamina show Galilei Donna from A1 Pictures, which is streaming on Crunchyroll. But it doesn't really matter where it's streaming because I'm not recommending you go watch it.
Just quickly explain what this is because we don't do that many of them, so people might not know. Review the first episode in the S.W.A.T reviews, and these are shows that we dropped. And we kind of go into why we dropped them.
But this is really, dropping them much later. We liked the first episode a lot. If you listened to our S.W.A.T review, it was kind of glowing. We really liked it. Man, it just takes a nosedive very quickly. It's sort of frustrating because I thought that first episode had so much potential. And the balance is out of whack. I don't feel like it knows what it wants to be. And in fact, the thing I liked best about the first 2 episodes was there was this feeling of adventure, exploration and adventure with this kind of quirky family unit. But then very quickly it becomes either crazy action or mild slice of life. I don't know what. And then there's this kind of constant ignoring parts of the story or skipping parts that seem important.
One, I want to preface this before I get into things, that I feel there is this common complaint that, 1, anime doesn't know how to do a good ending. And that 2, everybody tries to be Evangelion and make up this story on their fly. And that they should do more planning in the beginning. And I feel like it's easy to throw those complaints at Galilei Donna, but I feel like they had a very succinct structure in place. It's the execution that is totally off. It's like they have this outline, but
they don't know how to get from point A to point B.
They do. They do it so clumsily. And you'd have to be able to talk to the staff in all I can say is a non-Japanese way, because if you ask them this question, unless someone was crazy disgruntled, they would never tell you this. I really wonder if there was some kind of weird conflict, because one of the easiest complaints that we had is after the second episode, the finding of those, basically it becomes this quest thing where they have to find these sketches. It seems like someone was super mad that they had to do that find the sketch thing, because they get knocked out
It is the most anticlimactic search ever. In a way, it makes you wonder how incompetent the rest of the world has been in order to not find these sketches before now, because they are such a side thought thrown in at the end of episodes, and they find them in 2 seconds randomly, and there's just no ceremony about it at all. It's so frustrating that they keep bringing them up. And literally, there's one where they crash land somewhere, and it happens to be the place that also has a sketch. And it's some random island. And they just find it literally 1 minute in the episode.
I really wonder if there was some weird conflict, because I almost feel it feels like someone introduced that, and then other people just hated that part of it, but for some reason kept it in. And thereby it kind of gets the short shrift. Because there were so many different ways to do it. Just either to get that same kind of road show, kind of having to go all over Europe thing.
All of the world, really.
Yeah. So go all over the world and basically have little adventures along the way, or to have a find the hidden pieces thing that is so much more interesting, but they didn't. It's like there was some mandate that it had to be in there, and they were really resentful of it.
And then I feel like all of the strong elements have been pushed to the side, and then all of this other stuff, because there's just too much going on, because it's also kind of a mecha, there's like some mecha stuff, then there's this energy, we know that the world has an energy crisis, and we know that this one evil bad company, is trying to control all the energy in the world. And so there's like this energy conservation aspect to it. And and they're pursuing them, looking for the sketches, which is interesting, except that villain is so evil. Like, he's such a bad dude. Like, he is such a murderous mofo that it's not adventure-y when he's around, because he's literally just killing people. And so it doesn't have that adventure feel. It has like a really serious like action feel in that moment. And ugh.
But two things. One, Indiana Jones is an adventure film, and like the Nazis, and nobody's like, man, those Nazis are just fun villains. I mean,
but I'm not talking about Indiana Jones. I'm talking about this show, which had like kind of like a family adventure feel from the first couple of episodes. I mean, I'm not saying nobody can die, but this episode where he's just executing people in the hospital was a little like...
I was going to mention, that was also what I was going to mention. It's funny because they try to like humanize him. well, like with this story about how his parents died.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right. But then he just goes on like that murder spree.
He's too crazy. He's just too crazy. Like, I don't know. It just feels disparate. And then, but because he's so serious and like what's happening with him is so serious, it makes all the other stuff, the silly stuff, feel incongruous. Like, they spent, like, the last episode we watched where they spend all that time in Kyoto, and, like, I feel like that would have fit more if it had kept kind of the more adventure-y feel and not gotten a little dark. I don't know. It just doesn't all fit together to me. The puzzle is just not coming together, and, like...
Because, yeah, it kind of has that... like, the Sky Pirates in them seem like fun, yeah. Whereas,
And he could have been fun, except they made him too horrible. That's what I was trying to get at, is that, yeah, the Sky Pirates thing, like, I was really hoping they'd, like, team up with them. And again, I feel like they're missing out because the Sky Pirates have kind of been the most interesting. And they're also this, colorful band of characters. And the sisters' relationship, I thought that was going to be, I think that's still focused on a lot, like the relationship between all three of them. But I think the show had too much going on, and none of them were being done well. So it was just like, And the logic of the show.
It's not as bad as Coppelion, I was about to say. Because Coppelion, every once in a while, I'm like, what? But that does not mean that the logic in Galilei Donna is somehow less wonky. Well, it is less wonky, but not by much.
Things just happen in this show, and instead of explaining them, they just skip. That's what they do. Like, we're here now. We fixed the ship. We found a sketch. We did it. The end. Congratulations.
And once again, there'll be like that story about the doctor. And I was like, okay. And then, like, there's the one where they meet that little resistance group, and then those kids get, like, firebombed to death.
I actually kind of liked that episode. Obviously,
just for change of tone. Not for that story being bad, but just, like, once again, the doctor story where she, like, the littlest one gets, like, horribly injured in the most clean way possible. And then, in that other episode... those kids get firebombed to death.
Yeah, they huddle together and die together. Yeah, that was pretty terrible. I just feel like the progression keeps going all over the place. Sometimes it's super dark, sometimes I felt like at the time when we saw the episode, I liked it. I thought it was kind of showing us, okay, the world is kind of a darker place, okay, that's where we're going. But then it just keeps wavering, as if there's like too many cooks in the kitchen or something.
Yeah, once again, I wonder if there is some kind of like more than one writer kind of struggling back and forth of like basically, all right, we're going to go this way, and then no, we're going to go this way. And they're basically pulling back and forth, and there's nobody to basically rein them in and give them a unified. Because once again, I really feel like that's the problem. I suspect that's the reason behind the sketches being so hasty. Like, somebody's really pulling for them on the writing staff, and somebody really does not like them.
So I feel as though the show has good elements, but they're in contention with other elements in the show, and they don't all fit together. And then, so it's not it doesn't feel like a cohesive vision. And that makes it really annoying when watching it. Well, I'm not watching it anymore, but when I was watching it.
I had so much promise from the first 2 episodes. It's so sad that, like, it just kind of spiraled out of its control. And it wasn't that, like, the 3rd episode went in some, like, crazy direction that they couldn't recover from. It was just a need for focus, or for someone to unify the vision that just obviously never appeared. Alright, hopefully we won't see you guys until the end of the season, when we tell you which shows we did like and how well they wrapped up. Alright, see you guys then.